How's it going, John?
It is going well tonight, Eric. How are you?
That was a very smooth intro. I got a new mic, so
it sounds good. I gotta say, sounds good. I'll have to hear how it sounds on the recording.
Yeah, it definitely makes my voice sound different, which is weird that different mics pick up different parts of your voice, but I suppose that makes sense.
For sure.
Anyways.
So, still, you think it's Monday or Tuesday? Having a hard time distinguishing the days still?
I actually spent most of today, for some reason, thinking it was Friday. I don't know why, but all day today, my brain said it was Friday. So.
Okay, then.
Okay.
Just ready for another weekend. Just one after the other.
Yeah. So if I'm late to work tomorrow.
You're sleeping in on a Saturday.
That's right.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah. Well, watch that commute. It's a real long one.
Yeah.
Walking all the way down the stairs.
Yeah. I did see that officially at work we are working from home until the end of June now.
I saw that too. I will say that I miss eating out. I really miss eating out. So that will be nice when we can do that again. But we tried to quote unquote go out for Mother's Day, and so when I don't remember, at some point in time we drove past the movie theater in Cornelius and saw that they have a drive-in movie theater now, which basically looks like
I did see that.
Did you see that? So
I saw an article about, is there going to be a return to drive-in movie theaters? Did you go to the movies?
We did. They were playing Groundhog Day, which is one of my favorite movies. I love that movie. Shirley hates that movie. It was Mother's Day, and she's like, really, that movie? But she was like, but it would be fun to do with the kids. And we held this whole image of, backing the truck up so that we could sit in the back. And I mean, you have a truck too, which you could totally do.
Yeah.
But you have to take a boombox or something so that you can listen to the soundtrack. Because
do they broadcast like on a FM?
They broadcast it on a local 93.5 FM or something like that. So we wound up just sitting in the truck and watching it, which was great. But as we were trying to go, we were like, well, you know what we'll do? We'll go to Red Robin and get just get burgers, and we'll go have burgers and take out basically at the movie theater. But Red Robin was like, oh, I'm sorry. I tried to call in, and they were like, oh, it'll be an hour. We're like, we don't have an hour. All right. Well, there's a Panda Express on the way. We'll stop at Panda Express on the way, which, whatever. I like Panda Express. And Panda Express is like, well, we're out of everything except these other things because we're technically closed. We're like, oh, well, bummer. And so we're already practically there at the movie theater, and we're like, well, what's around? And it was like basically Burger King or Sonic. So we wound up at Sonic, and so that's what we had. So it wasn't exactly the Mother's Day dinner, but we enjoyed the drive-in movie. That was cool. Did you guys do anything good for Mother's Day?
Yeah, this year my wife makes a lasagna that it's one of those dishes that I can't eat any lasagna anywhere else now
because it's so good.
And that's what she wanted for Mother's Day. And I said, okay, we have the recipe. I can try to figure out how to make that for you, and we'll have lasagna. And so for the couple days leading into Mother's Day, it was all right. I want lasagna. We went to the grocery store, got all the stuff for the lasagna, and then on Sunday, about I'm gonna think close to dinner time. Is nobody pays attention to time.
Time is
anymore.
fungible.
Yes, and we kind of realized, oh crap, we need to get on it. So I'm like, oh, let me hurry. So we're at this point, we're like probably not going to be eating till 7:30 or 8. And she's like, well, you know what? let's have lasagna tomorrow. Would you mind grilling some steak? It's like, don't have to ask me twice.
I could do that.
Fired up the grill. We got some steaks out. We had tasty steak for Mother's Day.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
Quick side note, I got to do a hi, Mom, because I called my mom on Mother's Day and chatting with her. She said, I listened to your podcast. Well, mostly just the first part because I hear about all the things you did that week.
Oh, you bad son. You should talk to your mom more often.
I should. But anyways, hi, Mom.
Fun.
And then the other exciting thing we did this last week is, and I tweeted a bunch about it. So there's a whole tweet storm I did, but we saved a baby bird.
I saw a couple of those pictures.
Brand new baby bird apparently had fallen out of its nest. And my boy and I were going on a hike and we saw it and we're like, we couldn't see the nest anywhere. So we're like, oh, did it end up somewhere? Did it fall? Did, another bird, is this carry it off somewhere and accidentally dropped it? So we took it inside and went to try to find, we're Googling what kind of bird is it? Are we okay? Do we need to take it somewhere? And remembered that there's a neighborhood friend who works at the zoo and is a bird. If you've ever been to the zoo and watched any of the bird shows, you've probably seen her.
Well, so, been a few years, but
yeah. So that's what she does. That's her job. So my wife called her and she left her a message, and then she texted me back and said, "Well, I talked to some friends at the Audubon Society, and you can take it there, but they close at 5." And it was like 4:58. Or you can call Dove Lewis, which is
emergency vet.
Yeah, a vet place, and they'll probably take it. Or if it's at all possible, find the nest and put it back in the nest, because that would be the best. So my oldest daughter was looking up in the tree. We found the nest. It's a tiny little nest. I mean, this was a tiny little bird, and I have a 10-foot ladder. Got the ladder up to as high as we could go. We found this nest, and we kind of scooped the little baby bird in. It scared me to death because when I got up my face close enough where I could try to reach in and put the bird in, mama bird flew away, and scared me. But so we put baby in and then got down and we sat and watched and waited for mama bird to fly back in. Mama bird did. Checked the next day. Everybody seems to be happy now. So yay us. We saved a baby bird. At least that's what we're telling ourselves.
Good for you.
Anyway, so that was
good for you.
That was my week.
That was a big excitement week. Big excitement for the week.
I have no idea what day that was when we did that, though. It was sometime in the last week.
I'm sure it's recorded on Twitter.
Yeah, that's right. I could probably tell based on when the tweets happened. Oh.
That's funny. Oh, I almost forgot. I had big news this week too. I caught a swarm of bees. So now remember I told my wife that I wanted to grow to 5 hives, and then I wound up with 6, and now I have 7. So, but I had maybe beginning of March. So this was, a couple months ago. I went and put a couple of swarm traps up at a friend's house up, 10 miles from here or so, a ways away. And a swarm trap is, so, in the spring, basically around this time, late April to mid-May, late May, bees, if they have not enough room and there's, the colony's doing really good, they will split. They will, half the bees will swarm away with the old queen. So they'll leave behind some queen cells that are about to hatch, and they basically divide the colony. And so what you can do is you can set out, there are lots of people that try and just catch swarms, right? So there's actually swarm lists around, and there's you can call the fire department. The fire department has they know the people to call, and local beekeepers will kind of race to go pick up a swarm because it's free bees, right? I mean, it's basically if you can get it, it's pretty cool. But so I had built, last year, I had built a couple swarm traps and put them up around my place, but I didn't catch anything. No big deal. And then last fall, I'd been talking to a friend, and he was like, oh man, yeah, in the spring, every spring we get just swarms of bees all over the place. And I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, we've got this tree, not a linden tree. I forget what he said, what kind of tree it was, but he's like, oh, and the blossoms, the bees just love it. And I was like, well, if you don't mind, maybe next spring I'll bring over and put some swarm traps up. And he was like, totally do it. So beginning in March or so, I went over and I had put up 2 swarm traps, and they're basically just a box that you hang kind of high in the tree, and you put in an old frame of comb to kind of be bait, and then you can bait them with they really like lemongrass oil. Actually, bees are really attracted to lemongrass for some reason. So anyway, no biggie. They've been sitting up there. I've gone over a couple times and rebaited the hives, but just on the off chance. But he called me on Thursday, or he texted me and said, you have a swarm on one of your traps. And so I was like, what? So I went over pretty late because I wanted them to be kind of settled for the night and be able to have, I hoped everything in the swarm trap so I could just kind of close it up, lift it off the tree and bring it home. But the bees were on the outside of the trap, kind of in between the trap and the tree. And I figured that since they hadn't gone in, that they'd be gone in the morning. They just, because the bees do that. When they decide to swarm, they'll all swarm out and fly to someplace relatively close to the hive, and then they'll send out scout bees to find out where to go from next, and then they'll do that maybe a couple of times to try to find a new spot.
Okay.
So anyway, I wish that I had some. I wish I had some of this on video, because I basically had to. I got down they were kind of behind this trap. So I went and I got my second trap, the one that was farther away, and I screwed it into the tree kind of underneath where this whole big mass of bees was. So I could then and I'm in gloves and a suit, so I'm not doing this barehanded or anything. And I could scrape just with my hands as many of the bees as I could and kind of shake them down in the box, and then scrape as many bees as I could and shake them down in the box. And so I did that. I got as many as I could. And then when I brought them home, and then I closed it up, brought them home, put them out by my other hives. And then this past Sunday, the big mystery is, did I get the queen? Right? Because I didn't get all the bees. Right. I couldn't get all the bees. There's no way. They were kind of crawling under the bark. And I tried my best. I really did. But this past Sunday, I went into the hives, and there were eggs in there, which means there was a queen to lay eggs, and they have.
They're hanging out.
They're hanging out. So I gave them a frame of brood from one of my other colonies, because that's one of the ways that bees will not what they call abscond, but basically take off again. Because they basically, if they don't like their home and they haven't invested anything in it, they'll just take off, right? But if there's the brood pheromone in there, then they'll stay. Sometimes. That's the odds are. So anyway.
So you're liking your odds so far?
They're still there. All so
right.
Yeah, I went in on Sunday and I put them into a real brood box and gave them another frame of brood and yeah. So but that was my first swarm ever, and it was fun. It was cool. So now I have free. Well, not really free, because I had to go out and buy another hive, but yeah, I told some friends, I'm like, well, if I get another swarm, I'm calling you, because I can't justify. I'm already over by 2. So anyway, that was my fun and excitement last week.
Cool.
Late last week.
Yeah, I think I saw your picture. You tweeted a picture.
I did. Sent
me a picture at some point of the swarm on the outside of the tree between the box and the tree.
Yes. I think I did tweet that. Yeah, I tweeted it. Yeah. I tweeted a picture, and yeah, that was the deal. It was not easy to get them in. So, but evidently I did okay. So, knock on wood. Knock on wood.
Nice.
That's cool. All right. That's a long intro. Wow, we've been chatting for a while. All right, so I see you put a piece of follow-up in, and I put a piece of follow-up in.
Yeah, so my piece of follow-up really isn't follow-up. It's kind of a whole story and kind of cool, but I threw it in follow-up because we've talked about Zoom a number of times in the recent past.
Exactly.
And Zoom has taken some criticism for its encryption or lack thereof. So apparently Zoom this week decided to acquire Keybase. And I don't know if you're familiar with Keybase, or if you're not familiar with Keybase, it's basically they spend a lot of time doing encryption. So it appears to be
a talent acquisition.
Yes, a talent acquisition to help them. And in the Zoom blog, they have a whole description. Keybase's blog is much more interesting because it's just simply, here's what we're going to do. You know what we do, right? We do secure communications. That's what we do. And we do it on all sorts of platforms like Zoom wants to be. And this is what we're going to do. We're going to help make Zoom more secure. That's what they say in their blog post. But my favorite part of the blog post was the FAQ, which says, how in the world did you do an M&A deal during a pandemic? And the answer is 2 words, using Zoom. So,
that's on the Keybase blog?
Yes, that's on the Keybase blog.
That is funny. That is
the Keybase blog is short and sweet. The Zoom blog is very detailed and very corporate. So it'll be interesting to see what I've had I'm sure you have a Keybase account. I've had a Keybase account forever, but I don't really use it unless I don't initiate conversation with Keybase or using Keybase for things. But if other people do, then I can communicate with them. So
interesting.
Anyways.
Yeah. No, I don't know how I missed that, which is now that puts a couple of other tweets in context that I saw. Like Alex Stamos had tweeted something about, if you wanted to boot a end-to-end encryption, what would you do? And presumably the answer is buy a team that does end-to-end encryption.
Exactly.
I
think in a couple, the other big Zoom news is I don't remember the exact date, but soon here now, they announced it last month, but soon here now, they're going to implement end-to-end encryption, which requires everybody who is using Zoom to upgrade their clients. And so they've pretty much given everybody a month notice, and sometime in the next week or two, phase 1 of their, we're trying to improve our security goes into effect by requiring everyone who wants to connect to a meeting to upgrade to the latest version. So they're marching ahead.
Good for them. Good for them.
Yeah.
I mean, they're in a amazing opportunity.
Yeah, it's a hot space, that's for sure, because I don't this is a nice segue into your follow-up.
Yeah, actually, that's true. That's true.
I was just going to mention pretty much what is exactly your follow-up.
When are we going to go back to work? So yeah, the thing I threw in follow-up, because we've been working at home. First of all, I'm very grateful that we have jobs that are remotable, let's say.
Yeah.
And I've been quote working from home occasionally for, I don't know, my whole career. The 90s. Whenever I can, or whenever I don't think I've ever had a job post college where I had to be in the office every day to get my job done. So anyway, I very much appreciate the fact that, very fortunate, work wise at the moment. And, but the specific news here is that Twitter had an announcement this week that they don't plan to ask people to come back to work even once this is over. Except for, with the exception of people who, for some reason, their jobs depend on them being in an office. And I don't think that's many, but maybe system administrators and some other things like that, might need hands on keyboard occasionally.
Mm-hmm.
But they're planning on staying distributed. And I think that, like you said, we've been told we expect to be doing this until the end of June. And frankly, I'm not sure, from this perspective now, I'm not sure June will be it. Well, I remain on the fence, let's say. I don't want to be pessimistic. I'm sure as hell not optimistic.
I'm sure. Well, it's already been bumped a few times. So were it to be bumped again, I would not be surprised.
Yeah.
So, but by the end of June, we'll make almost 4 months of doing this. And at some point, you just got to call it and say, was this successful? Was this forced experiment successful for our business? And I'm going to bet that in certain areas it is, and in certain areas it's a little harder. But
yeah,
the one thing I wanted to poke about in this one is it's the very last sentence in this is Twitter upped its allowance for work from home supplies to $1,000 for all employees. Is that for the year? And is that like printer paper, toner? I mean, what would count there?
What's $1,000?
Yeah. What was that? What does that fit? What does that go for? New podcast mics? New 3D printers?
I don't know. A good chair?
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah. I don't know. Well, we definitely haven't, we haven't talked about that at work other than that, if you need anything, we'll enable it. All right. Well, hey, we should get into topics here. What do you got for a topic tonight?
All right. So mine is also, I suppose, related to the theme, the recent theme. So the state of Ohio, and I think a number of other states have either implemented a policy or looking at implementing a policy that allows employers to report to the state employees who refuse to come back to work, citing, fears of the COVID and that, so that the state can stop paying them unemployment checks. And
just vicious.
Which that just seems wrong in the first place. But this article in Vice is the state of Ohio had that website up. So what did a hacker decide to do? They wrote a script that basically submitted massive amounts of junk data to the website, flooding it with false data, which essentially made it impossible for the state to try to go through and pick out the real ones from the junk data. And and so the state of Ohio is currently rethinking their
oh my gracious sakes,
COVID fraud website. So
this is a human scale denial of service.
Yes. And the state of Ohio has decided to try to, we're going to figure something else out. I don't know if they've decided against this idea entirely yet, but the script apparently has currently stopped working because the state of Ohio has tried to fix their website, but another hacker has taken up the project and is going to release an updated version so that will work on the new website. So,
ugly.
I would expect more of this kind of hacktivism, maybe that's the right word for it, this type of hacktivism to occur as we get even more and more digital and online. So
yeah, I think hacktivism's the appropriate word for it. It's just kicking people when they're down, though. Oof.
Yeah. So that's the article I pulled out this week is
all right.
Hackers going after websites that I'm not particularly upset that they went after.
Well, yeah, there's a matter of principle. It is bad. All right. Well, I have two. I'm going to actually do the WordPress one first, I think. So the first article I saw this last week, but this is a hacker group trying to hijack 900,000 WordPress sites. That's basically the clickbaity-ish title. But essentially, there was a kind of a mass hack attack against WordPress. So it says from across more than 24,000 distinct IP addresses. So somebody's got themselves a botnet. There wasn't anything in this article about the botnet itself that I remember, but from 24,000 distinct IP addresses and attempted to break into more than 900,000 WordPress sites. So relatively significant. And it says the attacks peaked on Sunday, May 3rd. When the group launched more than 20 million exploitation attempts against 500,000 domains. And, that means that there were what? Order of 40 queries per domain, at least according to those rough numbers. And basically they were trying to take advantage of known vulnerabilities in different WordPress plugins, primarily cross-site scripting. And at least for the exploits that they detailed in the article, almost all of them clearly had patches available and have had patches available for a year or even more in some cases, which, at the end of the day, what that means is that
patch your systems, people.
Yeah, patch everything, right? You gotta stay up on patching. And that's also, I'm not a WordPress guy. I've never hosted one, but that's why WordPress hosting sites are so good with regard to you don't have to keep up on applying the patches in general.
Right. Yep.
Which people are bad at. People, and I'm sure a bunch of these are businesses that had somebody, maybe it was a cousin, or maybe it was a professional consultant, come in, stand them up a site. Yes, it worked. And then they just leave it be so long as it continues to work. And they know how to maybe add the odd article now and then, but you just can't, it atrophies.
Yeah.
So patch it all. Anyway. All right. My second article was, did you see this? Thunderspy.
No, I missed the Thunderspy. Does it have a logo, and does it have?
It has a logo. Of course,
it's got a web page. It's got a logo.
Of course, it has a logo. Thunderspy.io. So
I didn't
cool.
see the Thunderspy. I just saw an article about, or a tweet that flew by about. Okay, Thunderbolt 3 security.
Thunderbolt security.
I just didn't see the Thunderspy bits.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. So
Thunderspy.
Thunderspy. So this is a vulnerability in Thunderbolt, which is the high-speed interconnect capable of driving, like the 6K monitors. Yeah, super fast. It's been first, I think it first came out in Macs, but it's now in lots of Windows PCs too.
Mm-hmm.
So this type of attack is what's known as an evil maid attack. Won't somebody think of the maids? Come on. We don't need to be denigrating. I don't even want to call it the cleaning staff. Anyway, yeah. Why is it called that though? Because the notion is that there's a class of attacks that if somebody has physical access to your computer for a short period of time, what could they do with it? And this is both interesting in a theoretical sense and also not particularly worrisome in the real life, as far as, is your laptop, do you need to worry about your laptop in this particular way? Probably not. Not unless a nation state actor is going to be interested in what you might have on your laptop. But essentially, one of the quotes in here is, all the attacker needs is 5 minutes alone with a computer, a screwdriver, and some easily portable hardware. Because basically it's a physical attack, right? You have to unscrew the back panel of the laptop, find the Thunderbolt chip, attach a programmer, a flasher to the leads of the chip, and then flash it with a custom ROM, basically, that disables the Intel security. And then, so basically you flash it with the vulnerable ROM, and then you can put everything back together, and you can plug in a Thunderbolt device. And now that Thunderbolt device, Thunderbolt device you control, can use direct memory access to get access to things on your computer without you logging in, even if, so long as the memory is readable, you can read memory. Mm-hmm. So, it actually doesn't work even like on Macs these days, because they have a protection mechanism against this type of attack. Nor does it work on more recent versions of Windows and Linux, and they implement something called kernel direct memory access protection. I don't know if that's if there's a KD map. I don't know if that has an acronym or not, but it's still an interesting theoretical attack. It's interesting that they identified what they claim to be like 9 different vulnerabilities in the Intel firmware, and they have a proof of, working, not just proof of concept. They have a working demonstration. There's some videos out on thunderspy.io. I think we should probably link to I put in the link in our notes to the Ars Technica article too, because that's a little more balanced, I guess I'll say. But the last quote I kind of pulled out of this article, it says, and I'm going to go ahead and read this one, because I think that this is kind of where I come down. It says, security practitioners have long made clear that an experienced adversary getting physical access to a device, even for a short amount of time, represents a game over event. The only reasonable assumption is that the computer, phone, or other electronic device is compromised, and the only meaningful response in this scenario is to discard the device, since it's conceivable that the compromise involves the undetectable rewriting of firmware in one of the device's many components.
Right.
Because that's the thing. I mean, there are many layers of software in the average PC. Mm-hmm. So long as you consider firmware to be software, which I do.
It's all software.
It's all software. It's all software. So
well, cool.
Yeah. That was my other thing. You can check out thunderspy.io or just Google Thunderspy and you'll get a bunch of articles. But we'll link to the Ars Technica one.
Yeah. Alrighty.
All right. How about something fun this week?
All right. So my something fun actually involves something that I have consciously avoided mentioning my children's names.
You have.
Out of respect, I suppose, that they don't need to have me calling them out on a podcast that they never listen to. So
daughter number 1 and daughter number 2.
That's how I've been, and the boy. I've been naming. Unfortunately. So my something fun this week is the boy has decided he wants to do a podcast, and he's been poking me about this for a while. I've kept saying, look, if you want to do one, I'm happy to help you, but here's the things you got to do if you want to do this. And so he finally got up enough desire. He finally checked everything off on the list that I told him he had to check off, and created a podcast. And it is called Weather by Ty. So the website, he's got a website, weatherbyty.com. We work on it together.
Very nice.
So there you go. His name is Ty. So now I can refer to him. Daughter number 1, daughter number 2, and Ty. Anyways, so he's
weatherbyty.com.
That's right. He's released his first, 3 episodes, but he's going to be releasing them once a week. So we've recorded 3 3 episodes so far, and they're 3 to 5 minutes long. I imagine they'll get longer over time as we kind of slowly figure things out, and he kind of figures out how he wants it to work. Because right now, the premise is he takes a weather phenomena and tells me about it. And then I ask dumb questions or try to make jokes, and I try to be humorous. So that's the premise anyways. So the first couple episodes are out. So if you're interested, he is very excited about, we're doing it on Anchor.fm, which is a website for publishing podcasts, and it's free if you want, to publish your podcast. So we signed up for that. He's got a website. It takes a couple weeks to get connected into Apple Podcasts. So you can't go into your Apple Podcasts if you have Apple Podcasts and find it yet. It'll be a couple weeks before it's there. But you can go to the website and you can download it, and it's got stats about who's played from where. And so he's very excited because Grandma in Illinois has watched it. So he's looked at the geographic location of your listeners, and he's like, wow, 4 people from Oregon and 1 from Illinois. I'm like, yeah, Grandma listened to it. He's like, oh, okay, cool.
That's awesome.
So
that's awesome.
He's excited. We'll see how long it lasts, but so we recorded another 2 episodes before we got on here to record tonight. So there'll be at least 5, maybe 6. So.
Fantastic. All right. Well, you go, Ty.
Yeah.
I will have to check it out. I will have to check it out.
Yeah.
That's
so there's
cool.
my something fun.
That's cool. All right. Well, my real something fun is in a second, but I'll give you a half something fun here, which is that I got another toy that came just on Monday, so 2 days ago, I got the AirPod Pros. This past weekend, I was going outside to do some work, and my wife was like, where is Sun Hat? It was really hot. It was really hot this weekend. Well, really hot means it was like 80, 85 degrees, which is hot. That's right. And
that's Oregon hot.
That is Oregon hot. And she's complaining to her sister who's down in Arizona, who was like, it's 107 here.
That's right.
So, yeah. So,
but it's a dry heat.
It's just like being in an oven. Anyway, so I'm going out, and she's like, "Wear a sun hat," because I get just the brutal red, sunburnt neck because I'm out working, whatever. I'm like, and come out. Why I'm not going to wear my sun hat is because I want to have my noise canceling headphones on so I can listen to podcasts. Right. It's basically the deal. And you can't put headphones on over sun hat. Like that just doesn't work. I actually did try, maybe last week or something like that. I tried to mow the lawn with them on and a sun hat, and with them kind of just on the back of my neck. They don't stay. No, it doesn't work. So my wife was like, well, why don't you get those noise canceling AirPods then? Because then you can wear a hat. Protect your skin. I'm like, I think that's a brilliant idea. I should do that. Okay. So I did. And they're nice. They're good. I haven't actually been on a tractor with them. I don't think they're as noise canceling as the Bose are. But anyway, I'll report back if you care. Anyway.
I would be curious to how well AirPod Pros work while mowing your lawn. Do they actually noise cancel out? How well I never thought in-ear noise canceling could work that great.
I will let you know. It's been raining.
Alrighty.
Ever since I got them. It's been raining because I've got the mower out there. I'm ready to hop on, but it's wet. So I'll let you know.
All right.
Okay, but
cool.
my real, quote unquote, real something fun, the thing I had planned to actually say, I have actually watched a show. I've watched a show on TV. This is one of those things where they have these things called seasons, and then you watch a few of them. And I shouldn't say I've watched a show. I've watched 3/4 of a show. Because there are 8 episodes in the season, and that's that's probably the max that I could get through in anything, just time wise. But I'm 6 episodes into Devs, which is a series on Hulu, and you can imagine why I was like, "Ooh, okay, that sounds like something I might like," because it is. Well, I thought the premise would be about developers, and it kind of is. She's a developer. The main protagonist is a developer, and as was her boyfriend. And they are talking. And there's I won't say it too much because I don't really want to spoil too much about it. But it's very much about quantum mechanics and development. So quantum computing basically. And I was like, ooh, all right. So this sounds like something that I could justify spending my time on because I like quantum mechanics and I like computers and I'm a developer. So yes, this feels like it would be in my wheelhouse.
All right. So 2/3 of the way through, I see it's TVMA. How older teenage kids safe? Not kids safe at all? Or
I would say relative kid safe. Like I'm so far I'm 6 episodes in and I would let my 13-year-old watch it.
Okay.
I think.
Okay.
I'm trying to think if there was anything too bad. There's a little bit of violence, but not appreciably worse than the movies we watch with like Avengers and stuff like that. So
okay.
Standards vary, but And there's a little more language than I think would be on regular TV.
Right.
But again, it's not like every other word or anything like that. So
okay.
Yeah. Anyway, Devs.
Well, cool. Maybe I'll check that out.
Check it out. I'm enjoying it. I got to watch the last 2 episodes and see sort of where they end because I'm kind of right in the suspenseful part where clearly they're starting the final arc, and I watched episodes 5 and 6 last night, and I looked at the clock and I was like, I cannot get I can't get 7 in, and I know once I get into 7, I'm going to really want to watch 8. So just stop right now. Stop right now. So anyway,
alrighty.
All right, dude. Call it a show.
Well, cool. Yeah.
Sounds good. Be safe.
Yep.
Stay well, and take care of the family.
Chat with you later.
All right. Talk to you later, Eric. Bye.
Bye.